Hello, and I am so excited that we have Jackie here today. Jackie, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jaclyn Spittler. I'm the owner and artistic director of the Dance House in Shrewsbury, and I am married to my husband, Rich, and we have two kids, a 3-year-old son named Patrick and a 3-month-old daughter named Savannah.
Adorable. So, Jackie, you own the Dance House. Tell us all about how you got started with this.
Sure. So I originally started as a musical theater major in college. And then when I realized how tough that was, even my dream was to be on Broadway, I decided to switch gears and become a teacher. So I got my master's in teaching and was teaching in the public schools for a while. And one of my students, her mom was the original owner of the Dance House. So she went home and said, "Mom, my teacher sings and dances. You have to meet her. She has to get involved at the studio." So that's how I started. And I originally started, teaching dance classes after school. And then there was a time where I was doing it full time, but it was tough.
Yep.
I had student loans and I had a lot of different things with my finances. And at this point, I wasn't married. It was hard to sustain. So I ended up going back into teaching in the public schools. And I took a small break from the Dance House. And then COVID hit and I was living in Hoboken. And at this point, I was married. And my husband and I were thinking about, kind of coming down to Monmouth County. I think COVID accelerated that for us. I was looking for teaching jobs in Monmouth County. I got one right away. And then I connected with the second owner of the Dance House. At this point, it had been passed on to a second owner. And she was pregnant. The lease at the studio was not going to be renewed. So she was kind of looking to step away from the business aspect of things. She's an amazing, amazing choreographer. So she still wanted to teach, but she was looking for someone to take over the business. So now that I was local again, she had reached back out to me. And it was tough because I was approached with this the beginning of June. And I knew I needed to open our doors by the beginning of September. And knowing that we were going to have to find a new location was a pretty big undertaking. So the reason why our lease wasn't renewed was because there was a chiropractor that moved in underneath the dance studio. And he did a sound test. And even though he knew what he was getting into, he complained every day, not even just about the music, but like the jumping, which there's nothing we can do. We're a dance studio. How am I going to tell girls not to jump? Like, that's part of dancing. So we needed to find something and we needed to find something quick. So I had looked at a bunch of different spaces and I loved the idea of coming to Shrewsbury because it's such a hub for all of the different surrounding towns. We have dancers from Homedale. We have dancers from Lincroft, from Middletown, from Fairhaven and Rumson. We have dancers in Ocean Township.
Wow.
It's really like a central place. So it was kind of like a happy, it was a blessing in disguise, I would say. It was super stressful, doing construction and being under that time crunch, but it more or less happened. And, at that point I was teaching in the school, but as you know, teaching has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking for my next step anyway. I was actually interviewing for other teaching jobs to find a school that maybe was a better fit for me. And the way things work out is so funny. So I got a job offer at a district that would have been really hard to say no to. It was almost like a dream teaching job. And the superintendent emailed me and they were like, "Congratulations, we want to move forward. We'd like to schedule a call with you." And I was like, "Great." But then pretty much a week after that happened, the owner of the Dance House had reached out to me. And then I had this huge decision to make. And I said, okay, do I take the safe route, right? And take this job that is something that's stable and have my summers off? Or do I do what I love, but it's such a risk because, owning your own business,
Absolutely.
the area is saturated with dance studios too. So you really have to stand out and make yourself different. So he was supposed to call me and discuss like salary and the whole package. And I figured, okay, like let me get all the information before making a decision. Days are going by. I'm not hearing anything. I'm following up. And then all of a sudden I hear from him and he's like, I don't know how to say this, but I don't have the job anymore. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have the job? Because I mean, here I am. I can't tell you how many rounds of interviews I went through, seeing people come in and out, right? So I was like, what do you mean? He's like, never in my career have I had to make this phone call. But like the short of it is that they didn't look at their like special ed numbers ahead of time. And I guess they had to move some teachers around in the building, and they needed to move like a current teacher, someone that was already on the staff, into this role and not hire someone new. So I was upset, but at the same time, like I was at peace because I literally hung up the phone and I called my husband and I said, we're doing the dance studio. I said, this is the sign that I needed, because it would have been so hard for me to make that decision on my own. And my mom has passed, and I always say that she gives me like signs. And I was like, this is my mom saying like, you have to do this. So that's kind of how everything came about. And I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you. Everything happens for a reason, and I am loving the fact that this is where my life has taken me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first off, I love that we're on the topic of everything happens for a reason, and like being in that spot of risk and stability. I think like that is something that nobody really talks about in these kind of things, because it's like, oh yeah, I did this and it's amazing. But there's a massive decision to choose between risk and stability, especially as a mom. Because
I know
we have to sit there and we have to be like, okay, it's not just about us. It's about our kids. Like, what is the stability for them?
And at this point, so I had my son, Patrick, but we knew we always wanted at least 2 kids. I also had to think too, okay, if I'm going to have a second child, what is a maternity leave going to look like when you own this? Because I got really lucky with my son. He was born in April. So I also had the 2 summer months, July and August, that I was home, and I was able to like, pretty much like add my break onto the summer months. So I had 7 months home.
That's amazing.
Around, let me tell you the truth. The day that I came home from the hospital, I got home at 2:00 and I had to run payroll by 5:00. Like, there is no maternity leave really when you own your own business. I mean, I've had people, definitely, I have a wonderful, wonderful group of teachers that have been covering my classes. So aspects of the business I've been able to kind of like take a step back from. But when it's your own business and like it's like my third baby.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm always, my brain doesn't stop. Part of me is a little bit of a control freak too. So like, I just want to do things and I want to do things myself, but I love it too. So like, it also doesn't always, parts of the business doesn't feel like work, but my maternity leaves were very different. And like you said, it was a big risk for our entire family. And I was really lucky that I had a husband that was so supportive, because I feel like if it wasn't for him, I don't know what I would have done. But
no, absolutely. Honestly. Yeah, I definitely think there's so many factors that go into these big decisions. And I'm really glad that you're mentioning some of these things. So like, for anybody listening and you're thinking about running a business, this is why I keep reiterating, it has to be a passion, because you are constantly thinking about it. You are doing things all the time. Like, you really want to make sure that it's something that you love, because if it's not something that you love, then just might as well stay in your 9 to 5. Like, running your own business is way more than a 9 to 5. It's all the time, but in a beautiful way. In a beautiful way, because it's yours.
Yes. And I said to myself that, I always wanted to be a mom. And I knew that after like I love being a mom. And after having my son, I said, wow, if I am going to step away from him, and he's in daycare and now he's in preschool and stuff. But like, if I'm going to step away from being a mom, I want it to be with a job that I like love and feel fulfilled about, not a job that I was kind of just like going through the motions with. And that's kind of, it's very unfortunate to say, but that's kind of what was happening. So yeah.
I love it. So now we're with you, right? We started this dance studio. So tell us about like having to start a dance studio. Like what were some of the must needs that you needed to open those doors?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first place must need is we needed a space.
Yeah, for
We need a
sure.
physical space, and it actually, so we are in the same complex as Bar Method. There's a Bar Method in Shrewsbury, and the whole building was Bar Method at one point. So I say this because they had mirrors and ballet bars up,
Hmm.
and then of course the landlord made them take everything down. So we started with a blank canvas, but it's all good. So we made it to construction, and then our doors did open in September, a week later than normal, but that was okay. And a challenge with moving a business from one location to the next is that even though like Morganville to Shrewsbury isn't like very far, the dancers that were dedicated, which was our competition team dancers, they followed us
Hmm.
for the most part. But the studio at that point didn't have many recreational dancers, and most of those younger dancers will just kind of go where's convenient for them,
Yeah.
unless so they're really passionate about it or the studio's offering something, a little different.
Hmm.
So when we moved, I literally had one or two recreational, like little ones, dancers. So my first task was really marketing this to
Hmm.
make sure, that we had classes and that we had full classes and that we were able to hit the ground running. Because again, I'm stepping away from my job, my teaching job to do
Hmm.
this. So, I didn't expect to make the big bucks, at least not right away, but I wanted it to be something that was profitable and I needed to pay my
Yeah.
rent, everything like that. So one of the things that like I'm very proud of
Hmm.
is that we went from one or two rec kids to now, I think there are like I think it's like 124 rec kids in our program.
That's
Um,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. And then I also started from scratch a musical theater program, which I'm really proud about because that was my background.
Hmm.
I was a member of Actors Equity and I did regional theater after graduating from my bachelor's with theater. And I knew when I took over the studio that I wanted to incorporate it. And I knew that was something that was going to make us unique
Oh, 100%.
because there are, like I said, the area is saturated with dance studios. There's so many, but none of the dance studios really offer this. So what we do is the first year we put on Annie Kids. There's a whole process for getting licensed through Manhattan to get the scripts and everything. And it was a great success. And then from there, word of mouth spread. This year we're doing two like full scale musicals. Frozen is actually this coming weekend. Class was waitlisted. Like we have 25 kids in the show, and that was kind of like our sweet spot. We didn't want to take more than that. So
Hmm.
we had a wait list, I think the day I had put registration out.
Wow.
And then with the older kids, we're doing Legally Blonde. So I am really proud too that again, like that I started from the ground up.
I
Like I
love that.
started with no musical theater program, but it's a huge part of the business now. And like what did you need? Like I needed kids. I needed to, find what was going to make this studio different from everyone else in the area. We have a competition team. We have a rec program, but we have this really cool musical theater program. So I can say that we produce not only just dancers, but singers and actresses and like
Oh
true
my God.
triple threats. And it's what I love too. So like what better way to incorporate like passions of yours, and put it into a class. So
I
I'm excited.
love this so much. Okay, I literally had no idea that she had these musicals as
Yeah.
well. And I love musicals. If anybody is listening, this is a little plug for Legally Blonde. If you have not seen that play,
Yes.
please go see it. It is so, so good. It is so good. It was hysterical.
I know.
That
I
is
know.
really, really
Did you
cool.
do theater growing
Oh,
Did you do
no,
theater
just in my
growing?
8th grade play. That's about as far as I went.
Okay.
But oh my gosh,
It's
I love
so
that
good
so
for
much.
kids. Yeah, and, like, even our little ones, our kids in Frozen are 5 to 9 years old.
Cute.
And how much they have learned, about being in a play, not even that, just like confidence,
Mhm.
projecting and like saying their lines. It's all like public speaking skills.
Yeah.
It's so good for them. And I know like theater was so good for me. Theater and dance was such a great outlet for me, even
Mhm.
as I got older and when I was in high school. It was just such a good creative outlet. So I'm excited that I can like offer these programs.
That is incredible. That is incredible, and
Thanks.
I love that you saw a problem that you had. It was like, okay, because I know. So for anybody that's listening that's not from around here, we are in New Jersey. So she is talking
Yeah.
about it's a county called Monmouth County, and she found a hub that's in a bunch of different towns. But even with that, she's right. In New Jersey, there's dance studios. Literally, there's 3 in my town alone.
Yeah, there's one, like, around the corner from us.
Yeah, so, like, finding a way to stand out, I think first off, you hit it out of the park, because if you think about, just like you said, a triple threat, that is
Yeah,
brava. That is amazing. I think that is incredible
thank
that
you.
you went this route. That is really cool. Oh my
Thank
gosh, I
you, I
love it
really
so much.
appreciate that. Thank you.
That is really cool. You're gonna have to send us videos so I could post it, because everybody's gonna wanna see some of these
I
Frozen
will,
videos in
yeah,
Legally
I know
Blonde.
the timing is gonna be off from when the shows happen to, like, this airing, but, yeah, so this weekend is Frozen, next weekend is Legally Blonde, and then a couple weeks after is our recital, so it's
So
busy,
exciting.
busy, busy,
Yeah, send
but
me
it
all the
wouldn't happen
videos, I'll
any other
post them.
way.
I
Yeah,
love it.
thank you.
I love it.
And obviously the musical theater program took off. So next year we plan to offer 2 musicals as well. So if you're listening and you're local to Shrewsbury in Monmouth County, check us out because June 30th, I'm going to be releasing registration for the fall. And like I said, our musical theater classes will fill up very quickly. But we do lots of different things. Like we do birthday parties at the dance studio. We
Oh,
do
cool.
summer camps. So again, like just trying to just trying to offer things that
Mhm.
maybe not every single dance studio does is kind of the path that I was trying to do.
And when it comes to marketing, so I love that
Mm.
you totally made this your own, and I think anybody listening, like, research, right? It's gonna be one of the main things that I do, and I think it's because one of my favorite parts of starting any business is research your area, what other people are doing, and how you can stand out, because that is so important when it starts with your own business. But now marketing. I would love to hear about some of your marketing techniques that you know really works for you.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention one other
Yeah.
thing, and I can't believe I didn't say it sooner since we're talking about being a mom as well. After I had my son, I started going to like mommy and me classes, and I really enjoyed it. And then I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's not many dance studios that offer mommy and me. So I was like, I have to do this. So I was the one that I was the one that taught it because I had
I
a
love
toddler at home. So I felt like I was like Miss Rachel, but
Oh,
for dance. You know what I mean? I
so
had the
sweet.
theatrics, the dancing, like, and the kids loved it. The moms loved it. I have some good videos of that because I mean, yes, we did a lot of like, action songs, follow along, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But I did teach them like the
Yeah.
basics. We did some across the floor. And then I would try to end the class with like a song that the kids and the moms can dance to together. So like I have a video of us doing like
Cute.
Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing and like the moms doing like the big lift with the little ones at the
Oh
end.
my gosh.
So I say this because I was like looking at my own life too. And in
Mhm.
addition to the musical theater, being a mom, I said, I know after having my son that like being in these mommy and me classes was so good for me, not just for him. Like one of my closest friends right now is someone that I met in like a music class, a baby and me music
Oh my
class. So that's like another thing that kind of made us a little unique.
Yeah. You have given so many great ideas. Like, you are like this like wheelhouse. And honestly, I also do love to credit some things to like a creative with a teacher background. I feel like whenever I'm speaking to, a teacher, they just have all of these crazy ideas that I think
Yeah.
really came from needing to think of so many things in a classroom in a day just to keep everybody just like happy and moving and learning. And it's just like I love that. I think that's incredible.
And I think, like, having the teaching background has really helped me become a
Oh, for
great
sure.
dance teacher to little ones too, because I have really good classroom management.
Hmm.
I know how to speak with kids. I know how to speak with parents.
Yeah, for sure.
made me a really good teacher and a really good like business person as well. But I know your question, I kind of went off on a tangent,
Oh,
was
it's okay.
about like,
It's okay.
and honestly, like this isn't anything that's going to be like a shocker, but social media
Yeah.
was huge. A lot of people knew me and my background. So once they heard I was doing a dance studio, of course I started an Instagram for the studio, but I posted it on my own personal Instagram and people just knew me as a performer and like wanted to be a part of that. So, yeah, I mean, Instagram really, really helped us. Instagram, Facebook, marketing like that way. All the different like mom groups, and then just like looking at my own network of mom friends and looking at my own network of like theater and dance friends is kind of how it happened.
Yeah, for sure. I think also when it comes to, so somebody that might not have a background that's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to do this." And maybe you've never been on social media before. If you were just about to join social media today, one of the most important things is to join your county's Facebook groups. Like there's always for us, we have like a Monmouth County Parents, and they allow on Sundays for you to promote your business. That is like, and that's how I got Jackie. Like she saw
I was
my
just going to
post.
say that's how I found you. And it's definitely something that businesses should take advantage of for sure.
100%, 100%. So like, don't think you need to, have a huge following to start something. You don't. And, it could just be something that you slow to build, but also Instagram ads exist. So you can absolutely run a couple local ads and target your area.
And honestly, like once you get a couple people in the door, if you were a good business person and people like you, that's all it takes is a couple people, because then it's like word of mouth.
Love it.
And that's what happened like at the beginning of the year when we opened our doors. Maybe our classes were on the smaller side, but then, moms would talk and they would say, "Oh, we just saw this. We went to this brand new dance studio in the area. It's beautiful. The owner's so nice. The teachers are so great." And then they bring friends. And then, that's kind of how it snowballed. With my registration this past year, I only sent it out to the current families. And I can't tell you how many new families I got within like hours. And I'm looking at my husband and I'm like, I don't recognize any of these names. These are new families like registering in the parent portal. But the moms just kind of like blast out the emails and it spreads and word of mouth. And then, that's kind of what happened for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If let's just say that somebody today is like, okay, they're hanging on your every word trying to open a business. Would you start by offering like those free classes and,
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Because I always feel that like once you get someone physically in the door, you are really proud of like the classes you're offering in the studio and everything. It's hard for them to say no, So definitely. And for anyone listening to the podcast, if you mention like Money Hungry Mama, I'm happy to offer you guys a free trial class. So yeah, I definitely, I think the trial classes are great.
Yeah.
And not to mention too, like, we offer classes by age and different styles, but, who's to say that like there's a dancer that joins us and maybe they need more of a challenge, or maybe they thought they wanted ballet, but they really want tap. So the trial classes are good for that.
Yeah, because I mean, my daughter, she is 3, and she oh, I'm so sorry, she just turned 4. She twirls around the house, and she's always like, "Mom, I want to go to ballet school." And I think to myself, that'd be so cute. You might love it, but she also loves gymnastics, and I think there's like a new mix of dance now, like acro dance.
Acro.
Am I right?
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So we have like a class for 3 and 4-year-olds. Actually, all of our like classes for the littles are combo classes because you want to keep them engaged, you want to keep them moving. So it's not just an hour of ballet. So that particular class is a combination of ballet and acro. So they take the mats out at the end. So for any gymnasts, it's a nice transition.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool. Guess who's going to be using the Money Hungry Mama code?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
it.
it's the perfect age to start. Offer like the Mommy and Me class. Our youngest it's like 1 to 3, the Mommy and Me classes. And then this year we also started a Twinkling Twos class because we found the year prior that there was a big jump from Mommy and Me to those independent classes. So now the Twinkling Twos class is kind of like a hybrid where like the parents are in the room, but they're kind of playing more of an audience role. And we weren't sure if they were going to be ready for the recital, but they are ready. So we're going to have Our youngest dancers will be 2 years old in our recital, and they're just so adorable, and like I said, the hope with that class is that by the time they are 3 and
Mhm.
4 and really ready for the independent classes, they'll be used to the studio, they'll be used to the routines and the structures of a dance class, and, sometimes there's tears at that age, but hopefully these girls, there'll be no tears.
Oh my god. You literally I feel like I mean, I don't know anything about dance studios, but I feel like you are just a gold mine of information about starting a dance studio. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
My
This is
gosh.
my second year. So
That's
we are,
incredible.
it's my second year as owner. It's my second year in the new location. And I
Mhm.
kind of feel like even though technically this is our 16th annual recital, it almost feels like a brand new business.
Yeah, it is. You
But because of
added so many
the
things.
location. But I will say I am so grateful for the two owners before me, Susie Stewart and Amanda Renson. They are both still teachers at the dance studio because they love it so much. They
Uh,
were like a huge wealth of information. So I'm so happy like I learned from the best and I'm excited to still have them and all the teachers that I kind of started with
that is
still on board.
oh my gosh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so share with us as much as you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It was risk or safety? How are we doing money-wise on the risk versus safety?
So my goal, and of course, I want to dream big and think
Yeah,
big,
sure.
but my goal was to at least be able to kind of match what I was doing in the
Mhm.
school. And you and I both know, like, teachers don't make the big bucks. But at least no, I am paying myself and I'm like it's pretty comparable to what I was
That's
making in the school. And with owning your own business, there is no ceiling. So like, with the school, you're stuck in steps. And
exactly.
sometimes it's hard to move from one step to the next. Whereas, with the trajectory of the business, like the hope is that each year it'll be better and better.
That's amazing.
So we're doing great. Unfortunately, there's, some dance studios that like I'm on like Facebook groups and stuff with that can't even pay their rent. So like I am,
No.
very proud that I can do payroll, I can do rent, and then I can still support my family because we are like a 2 income family household. And we've been making it work and it's been good.
Honestly, though, in 2 years, you made your teaching salary. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's huge. Like, you're literally paying yourself what you were making doing something that you didn't like, and like you said, this has no ceiling, especially with all the amazing things that you're doing. All the
Yeah.
this is oh my
I
gosh.
hope like I'll have a little bit more flexibility in a role like this. Like right now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I am working my butt off.
Yeah.
I am working around the clock. My kids are young, which makes it tough, but I'm hoping that like by the time they're a little bit older, like by the time my son is like in kindergarten, like I can be more present for him.
Mhm.
Like I can be a class mom. I can go to the school during the day as opposed to like, if I was still in a teaching role, it's hard to take days off. And
Yeah.
I was listening to your podcast when you had said it was more work for me to call out of teaching,
Yep.
to call out sick. And I was laughing because that was so relatable because I knew what it was like. If I was going to take a sick day,
Mhm.
I was going to have to do those lesson plans and make
Yep.
those photocopies. And it's so much work.
It
So I'm hoping that it'll be worth it down the line, for my family too.
honestly, it already is worth it because it's something that you truly love to do. I feel like if we only have one shot at this, it should be something that we genuinely care about and love to do, especially if we're going to go
Yeah.
all in and work all hours.
And it makes me so proud, like, to see the girls on
Good.
stage, at the dance competitions, to see them, at, like, the musicals and stuff this weekend, knowing that you were a part of it. It really it's a lot like teaching, right?
Yeah,
But
for
it
sure.
makes you, like, proud that you were a part of, like, their artistic journey.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That's
I have
incredible.
one girl right now, she's on, a national tour, and, like, you mark it, she's gonna be on Broadway one day, Sarah Coleman, if you're listening, and, no, and I just, like, I was her dance teacher way back when, and I'm just happy to be a part of all these kids, like, journeys, and happy to, like, offer musical theater and, like, quality musical theater,
Yeah.
in the area too, so.
Yeah, I can attest. There's literally not that I've seen anyway or promoted any musical theater. So I think that it is incredible what you're doing here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love that. These kids need a place to go, and that is
Yeah.
fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay, next question.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice that in your field normally people had to pay for, but you're willing to share with us today?
I mean, I know we already touched on this, but I
Mhm,
think really something as simple as like just finding something that makes you unique and
mhm,
different. Whatever your business is, there's going to be lots of businesses similar to you, and finding like your niche and finding like something that you can do that
mhm,
not everyone else can. I think, because we have girls that are with us for like the musical theater classes that dance at other studios, but their studios don't offer that. So like, and it's still, and I would never take anyone away from
yeah,
another studio if they were happy, but because they're not offered like those opportunities, they come to us just for musical theater. So whatever it is and whatever business, you're looking to start or grow, try and make yourself unique. I know that sounds really simple, but that's what's worked for us.
for sure, for sure. And I think like even though it could sound simple, I don't think everybody thinks to do that. And that's what makes it so unique because that's why there's so many that are exactly the same because they don't
Right.
think to stand out. So I think no, that's totally great.
And you know what? Like, this is again is like basic and very simple, but like be nice.
Yeah,
Like, like be nice to
good.
people. Like I love, it's been nice being on like quote unquote maternity leave, whatever that means. But I've been able to go to the studio and not teach and just like sit and talk to the moms. And like I love our dance moms. It's
Oh,
nice to like talk to people, like you get to know them, and like I know everyone's name, I know their kids' names, and I know like people take that for granted, but it makes such a big difference, And I think people want to be a part of something where like someone knows your name and someone's going to give you a warm, friendly smile at the front door. And it's so simple, but believe it or not, it doesn't always happen everywhere.
yeah, no, I think that that is like so true because I think about myself when I go into somewhere. I'm gonna like throw myself under the bus here, but Target. Hey, Katie. I have a girl that works at Target, and I'm always pulling up, and she's always working like the Target drop off. So she's always like, "Hey, Brittany, where's the kids?" And I'm like, it's just so
Yeah.
nice that like you have this relationship when you physically see somebody as often as I do a Target pickup.
So
It really
I
does.
genuinely enjoy like sitting and talking to everyone. I don't always get the time to do
Mhm.
it, but I think I'd like to say that that goes a long way. And it's not something that I'm even trying to do. I'm just being me.
Yeah,
But I think, being present and being there and being nice will go a long way
for
in
sure.
whatever business you have.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you have people that are dedicated to coming to your business, taking the time to actually learn who they are. I think that that speaks
Right.
volumes about
Yeah.
a person. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Okay. What does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
That's a good question. I mean, I think for me, it's more about like a work ethic, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm a new business owner. I'm doing well. I hope to do even better each year. But I think like being a money hungry mama means like working so hard. Like when I do something, I put like 110% in. That's always like how I've been.
Mhm.
And like I said, if I'm going to work as a mom, I want to do something that like I love. At the end of the day, I'm going to be proud of. My family's going to be proud of me. My kids will be proud of me. So yeah, I think I'd say that.
I no, that's beautiful. Yeah. I think it's so important as moms to have our kids watching us do these things because then I know that they can do them too. I
Yeah.
feel like when
I
we
mean, I always say, like, I hope my daughter grows up to love dance. I mean,
yeah.
I'm obviously gonna put her on that path. I can't tell you how many things with like tutus and ballet slippers she has, but who knows? And if she doesn't like dance, that's fine. But, part of me in the back of my head is like, am I growing this for her? And like,
Yeah.
how special would
Oh
that be?
my gosh.
You know? And if not,
Yes.
I would just love, even if she doesn't want to do this, like, and take over the business, but like, I would love to like share my love of theater, my love of
Mhm.
dance with her. So I was so thrilled to find out I was having a girl this time around. I really thought I was like, I'm gonna own a dance studio. I'm gonna be surrounded by all these like adorable little girls in tutus, and I'm gonna have all boys. So we shall see, you know, what she likes to do, but I'm certainly
Beautiful.
hoping it's dance.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. Tell us, Jackie, how can our listeners support you?
Sure. So you can visit our website, thedancehousenj.com. We're on Instagram, the Dance House New Jersey spelt out. We are offering, like I said, weekly themed summer camps throughout the summer. You can do them like a la carte. We have like a Wicked camp. We have a Disney Princess camp, like all different themes to choose from for all different age groups. And then, like I said, our dance season is wrapping up, but a new one will be starting in September. So we'll be opening registration the very end of June. So please come and join our dance family. We're also looking to grow our competition team. So if you have a competition dancer, we're going to be having auditions in June for that as well. But I guess like the website and the Instagram would be like the two main places to find us.
Amazing.
And like I said, I'm very approachable and very friendly. So just come on over, stop in, or you can send me an email to Jackie@thedancehousenj.com. And I promise you that you'll have like a really good dance experience here, because that's all I want at the end of the day.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot thank you enough. This
Thank
was
you. This
fantastic.
was fun. Yeah.
All right. We will see you later. Bye, Jackie.
Hey, everyone. Thank you.